My oldest shrimp colony is doing pretty well. However, a lack of nutrients seems to be negatively affecting the water wisteria. They grow tall and spindly in this tank and tend to deteriorate at the base, so I decided to add some compost to the tank for nutrients. I made an attempt to push it under the gravel substrate, but that didn't work out at all. It immediately begins to dissipate in the tank when I put it in the water. So I just dumped it on top of the substrate, and I was surprised that immediately the shrimp began eating it or rooting around in it for whatever's edible. But hopefully that will increase the nutrients for the water wisteria. There is a bit of algae on the one Anubias. It's Anubias heterophylla. So I'd like to use the safest treatment I know and remove the driftwood ornament on which it is attached. Spray it down with hydrogen peroxide, allow that to sit for 10-15 minutes, and then rinse it thoroughly before returning it to the tank. And hopefully several treatments of that will destroy the algae without harming the plant or the shrimp, because I'll get rid of most of the hydrogen peroxide before returning the ornament each time. Here's a side view of the tank. You can see some of the compost on the substrate, and you can also make out the Anubias tucked under the Java moss. I want to very carefully remove the Anubias so as not to injure any shrimp. Now let's see what the best way is to put hydrogen peroxide on the plant. Here I have a bottle and it has the drip top. Let's see if that, not too good. Let's try something else. Here's an eyedropper. Saturate the leaves with this. Now normally I would trim the leaves. I think there's one that's about had it. As I recall, I do believe that my goldfish devoured most of this leaf when I tried to keep this plant in the 75-gallon tank, so since it's obviously never going to make a comeback, let's just get rid of it so the plant doesn't waste energy on that. Now I'll let that air dry for 10-15 minutes. One day after the first treatment, I don't notice any change. Still quite a bit of algae attached to the leaves. After the second treatment, I do believe that the algae on the leaves is beginning to turn red, or at least a dark rust color. This indicates that it's perishing, so I'll treat it once more and hopefully that will kill it. Here's a look at the plant after I treated it 3 times, and this is 24 hours after the third treatment. I decided to go ahead today and remove the plant one last time and attempt to remove the dead algae with a toothbrush, but that didn't work. I was afraid I would damage the leaves if I scrubbed too hard. But you can see that all the algae on the Anubias has turned a rust color, so that means it's dead or dying. Hopefully it will all fall off and shrimp might enjoy it. But while I had the plant out one last time, I doused it with the hydrogen peroxide a 4th time, and of course let it sit for 10 minutes before rinsing it thoroughly and returning it to the tank. Here's an update on the Anubias I treated with hydrogen peroxide last week. So far the Blackbeard algae doesn't appear to have returned, so I think this method was a success. If you look very closely, you should see some white cloud mountain minnow fry close to the surface. I've added some vinegar eels for them to enjoy now that I've noticed them. The question is, should I remove them to another tank where there are no adults to devour them, or leave them in this tank? I'm not sure, but I believe the addition of salvinia to go with the tall growing java moss has given them sufficient cover, and hopefully they'll be fine in this tank.